Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Reid Beside You. And today I'd like to welcome our guest, Megan Smith, who is the manager of pediatric services for rehab at Reid Health, and Don Long, who is a physical therapist?
Occupational therapist.
Occupational therapist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you both work in pediatric rehab. And first, how did you come to Reid?
Yeah, so I started with Reid a little over 16 years ago. Came as a new grad straight out of physical therapy school, and I'd actually been a student at Reid before, and was just really impressed with the team approach, the success of the program, and it just was someplace I really want to start my career. So once I started 16 years ago, then I've been treating patients for the last 16 years, and about 3 years ago I had the opportunity to step up into the manager role, and have really taken that opportunity to see how we can get the program to grow.
Okay, that's great. And Dawn, how long have you been with Reid?
So I have been with Reid almost 10 years now. I actually started as a student as well. I was really kind of drawn in by just the whole atmosphere at Reid, and especially even back then, our pediatric facility was really inviting, and I was really looking forward to kind of being able to serve patients in an atmosphere that I felt I could really be productive in and make an impact on kids' lives. So I was on board from the moment I kind of stepped into Reid.
Great. And today we want to talk about the rehab that's going on at pediatric rehab. So can you tell us about the renovation plans?
Yeah, so not long after I came into this manager role, we started to look at the facility, noticed that things were outdated, some things were broken and couldn't be fixed, and so we really started to look at the facility and what our opportunities were. One of the pieces in the facility previously was Mr. Pipes, and so any of our patients and families who had been there before knew that that was one of the big draws to the area, and unfortunately it was broken, couldn't be fixed, so we started to look at what we could do different. So we started to look into if we were going to expand programming, what kind of new programming we could support with a refurbishment, what we wanted kind of our dream to look like for a new facility, as well as how we could enhance the program that we had. So we put together a team. Dawn and I were both on the team, as well as a couple of other clinicians. Started meeting with a design team to kind of put the dream together, and then in October of 18, then the construction started, and we're nearing completion now, and we're really excited to see that dream come true.
So that's exciting that you are right on from the top to the bottom here.
Yeah.
Tell us on some of your new equipment that you have.
So when we started looking at the rehab, we really looked at what was working well for us. And so one of the areas that was previously there that we've looked at taking the theme for, we have this great swing area that has multiple swing hooks, monkey bars, rock climbing wall. We go up a tree, around a tree and come down a slide. So we really took that outdoor theme into this new sensory area that we have. And we really wanted to make the space inviting, engaging for kids. So there's lots of colors, there's lots of play activities for them to do, things to really get them to play while they're working.
And then what about the kitchen? You had a kitchenette area?
Yeah, we do.
And
so
how's that function?
We have a brand new kitchen area that we're really excited about. It includes a small pretend play area for our kiddos, so pretend sink, pretend food, the whole thing where they can kind of explore and just be as creative as they can. We also have a full-size kitchen area where we can work with some of our older children and work on things such as our IADLs, or instrumental activities of daily living. For example, we might work with a kiddo learning how to use the microwave and do simple meal prep type things. So that's a great aspect of the kitchen. One of the things that I think we're most excited about is this area where we have the opportunity to gather multiple children together. So we're looking into potentially kind of creating some feeding groups in the near future. And I think this new space is going to be fabulous for that, where we can have kiddos sit at a community table and kind of just have a family type environment and work on some of those feeding goals. So we're really excited about that.
And you also mentioned when you previously spoke about the sensory area, and now you're going to have a sensory garden.
We do. So the sensory garden is kind of like the main hub of our new rehab gym. When you walk in, that's kind of what greets you, and it's just a really sensory rich area. We've kind of put our heart and soul into creating an environment that incorporates lots of different senses, where all of our disciplines can work on goals and work towards achieving those goals through play with different kids. kids. So we are focusing on each sense that we can think of. For example, let's see, auditory-wise, we have wind chimes that kids can play, and we have these great new big musical flowers where they can play music on. Visually, we have all kinds of fun patterns and bright colors. We have a really new fun giant peg light-up board that the kids can work on all kinds of goals with. That's really great visually. Let's see, touch. We've got all kinds of different textures and things for kiddos to work through. We have a great new dual level accessible sandbox, so kiddos can kind of wheel right up to the sand and play in that. We also have a lower level to the sandbox where kids can actually get in and climb and kind of explore that with their feet as well. So in addition, we can work on lots of vestibular and proprioceptive processing tasks through climbing over and under various things. We have a great swinging bridge that seems to be a favorite of the kids, climbing across that and going fishing from the bridge. And we have some toadstools and just all kinds of great things for them to play with.
So inviting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Explain to me about the play to progress approach.
So play for progress. So kids, when they work, their true work is play. So through this refurbishment, we've really taken that literally, and we've tried to make the environment as inviting as possible so that there are lots and lots of different play activities. We know as therapists that to get a kid to work hard and to progress towards their goals, they've got to be having fun, they've got to be engaged. So we've really taken that theme and really tried to build the area to focus on a child.
Mm-hmm. So we have our display here.
So we
What's
do.
happens with our display?
So our display, so we play. That's what kids do when they come to therapy. You know, even though we as therapists know that they're working and we are setting goals for them and they have a plan of care and we're talking with the parent about what we want them to achieve, to the child, it should be a lot of play. And so, you know, an OT may use blocks to do different fine motor tasks. Sometimes I'll use them with a kid just to kick them down as a physical therapist. You can do all kinds of things with blocks, but the main theme of our area is to play.
I'm ready to come play and visit
It's a lot of fun.
New things that you adventured. Musical flowers, okay. I'm ready for that. So who do you serve and exactly where are you at?
So we are located at our outpatient rehab building. So that's a separate facility right here on Chester Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
And so pediatrics is one of the suites within that building. And we get referrals really from all over Reid service area, from right here in Wayne County, the surrounding counties as well, over into Ohio. Our patients come through referral from a physician, whether that's their primary care physician or whether that's a specialist that they've been seeing. Referral could come from a concern that a parent has that they've brought to their physician's attention, or the physician may notice some areas that they feel like therapy can help.
We hear so much about with a children's hospital that are not actually in Richmond. So if it's in Cincinnati Children's or in Indianapolis or with Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So do you interact with those facilities?
So we definitely do from the physician standpoint. Some of our referrals come from those specialists, and then we keep them up to date on the plan of care and touch base with them on the child's needs and where, when we're doing goal setting, that sort of thing. But it's really nice for our community and our surrounding community to have something this close to home to be able to work with their kids.
And is that how a child becomes does a child become a client?
Yeah, so that referral from the physician, all of our patients are referred through their physician. And again, that can be from a concern raised from the parent or the physician noticing some areas that they feel like the patient would benefit from a referral to us.
And how much staff do you have?
Mm-hmm.
So we have 14 full-time pediatric therapists. That includes speech therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and an occupational therapy assistant. We have a variety of experience and specialties, so we've got a really great crew on board, I feel like.
And with the disciplines, we hear often with you being an occupational therapist or a physical therapist. Can you explain some more about that?
So as a physical therapist, when I'm doing an assessment of a child, I'm looking at their strength, their flexibility, their gross motor ability. So, you know, I may be looking at, for a little one, their ability to roll or sit or crawl or walk. As they get older, we may be looking at stair climbing, their ability to access the community through ramps and curbs. Sometimes they may need an assistive device or special equipment to help them out. So that's my focus as a physical therapist.
As an occupational therapist, we kind of address a lot of different things. We look at how well the child is functioning in their environment. Are there sensory processing challenges that are causing some behavioral outbursts or just difficulty functioning in their environment? We assess a lot of what we call ADLs, or just self-care tasks. Are they able to put on their clothes and get their shoes on and things like that? In addition to fine motor skills, visual motor skills, and some visual perceptual things.
And as far as speech therapy, they look at a lot of different things. Honestly, as a speech therapist, they may be looking at speech and language delays. They may be looking at social communication. They look at feeding, swallowing deficits. Sometimes kids have difficulty swallowing. So they kind of look at all of those areas of the child.
Give us an example of your clientele. I know it's pediatrics, but it sounds like it's a wide variety.
It is very wide, very wide. So we serve a wide variety of kiddos from birth up to their teen years and beyond. We also serve a wide variety of diagnoses. So sometimes kiddos will come in with just basic developmental delays. Maybe parents kind of noticed they weren't achieving those milestones on time. We also see kiddos on the autism spectrum, maybe some kiddos with CP or who have chromosomal or genetic abnormalities. Sometimes we will even treat individuals who haven't integrated all of their reflexes fully. So we see just a really wide variety of age ranges and diagnoses.
So how do people get in touch with you? Or if, aside from the referrals, is there any other way that that a parent that has challenges might want to get in touch with the rehab center?
Yeah, sometimes we just have parents that have questions. Maybe they're preparing for a referral, or they're curious as to what services that we have for their child. So sometimes they just call in and they touch base with myself or one of the therapists to ask questions and say, hey, I'm concerned about this. Where should I go? What should I do? And sometimes we can answer those questions over the phone, or we can say, hey, let's get in touch with your physician so that we can get you in here and look at that a little bit more in depth.
Well, I'm sure that's very comforting to people who have a lot of questions, that they can actually, so they can feel free to actually contact you directly. And well, I'm excited and we're really happy that you joined us today. And we want to thank Don Long and Megan Smith from Reid Pediatric Rehab.
Thank you
and
for
thank
having
you for
us.
joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, what seems to be bothering you?
Hey Doc, I got a fever and chills. I really don't think I should be on the road.
Okay, I think that's something we can help you with.
Real-time care anywhere. Reid Health Now, right beside you.
Hi, how can I help you today?
My dad is really sick and I just don't want to take him out in this weather.
Okay, let's get him feeling better.
Receive quality care in minutes, even in the middle of the night. Reid Health Now, right beside you.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Reid Beside You. And today our guests are Matthew Wright and Brian Steele from Reid Rehab, and we are discussing the Rocksteady and Parkinsons Fight Club, as well as the Baby Boomer Fight Club. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Let's going to start with Brian. Since Brian has been here the longest, how did you come to Reid?
I came to Reid almost 22 years ago now, and found we were living here in Richmond, and opening came to Reid. They were interested in adding athletic training to their service lines, and it kind of just fell right into place.
Well, that's great. And our newer employee is Matthew. And Matthew, how did you come to Reid, and how did you learn about it?
So I'm actually a local grown kid. I graduated from Centerville High School and went to school in Ohio for athletic training. About 3.5 years ago, job opening came up for Reid. I wanted to stay around home, applied and got the position, and then just recently have stepped into the manager role.
Great, and we are glad that you stayed in our community. Tell us a little bit about Fight Club.
Well, we have two different fight clubs going right now. One is Rock Steady Boxing, and that one is, we are an affiliate from a group out of Indianapolis that started the program. It is just for Parkinson's patients, and so it deals with their disease specifically and how the disease progresses. A lot of people let the disease progress a lot faster than it really does, and so this program really helps them fight back against that progression and allows them to live a more independent life for as long as possible. And so we've had that program about 5 years now, and see tremendous results with those individuals.
And the baby boomer.
The Baby Boomer Fight Club is an offshoot of that program. We had so many people that were interested in starting a program like that, doing the same things, but they didn't have Parkinson's. And so we have started that kind of program to let them experience the things that we do with the individuals. We can be a little more aggressive. We move a little faster for the most part, but we do the same thing we do for our Parkinson's boxers in that we really modify the activities so that they are able to work at their own pace, at their own level, and then over time see the benefits of participating in a class like that.
And I know that you've had success stories in both of those groups. Could you share on those? One from each. How about that?
Sure. Yeah, we definitely see success with those groups. Probably the one that sticks out in my mind with our Parkinson's patients, and again, kind of illustrates how they may give up things a little easier or a little sooner than they have to. We had a gentleman that had come to class 3 times, and in 3 times the class hasn't really physically done much for him yet. It takes a little longer than that, but he'd come to class for the 3rd time, and at the end of class told one of his coaches, one of our staff members, that for the first time, and he said 10 years. Now, I figure that's an exaggeration. Maybe it's only a couple of years. But even at that, for the first time, he had put his own shoes and socks on that day.
That's amazing.
And so it really changed his mindset about what he could still do and the ability to try that activity. And so then he went from there and, like a lot of our others, really progressed on into getting back some of those symptoms and some of those things that he had allowed to progress and given up activities that he was able to get back.
That's great. And how about when the baby boomer?
The baby boomers, again, that's a class where there's no specific tie, there's no specific disease. So a lot of our patients come to us with different things. Some people may have problems with their knees or hips or their backs. Some people don't have any troubles, and they just come to the class. But the main thing that comes to mind is we had a lady that came to class, and the class really is dominated by women in that group. We're starting to grow the men's population, but the ladies really are the hallmark of that group. And so she is a caregiver for her husband, and she came to me probably about a month after she started and was talking about, even though she's very active with her husband and helping him, doing all of those kinds of things, she was really noticing the change because of that month's worth of activity that she had, and that she didn't fatigue as easily. She could go up and down stairs easier without getting short of breath, things like that allowed her to be a better caregiver for him. And so that is one of our big successes with that program as well.
So I'm sure it sounds like the directed exercise that she received from boxing probably transferred as she was in her caregiving state.
Yes, yeah, definitely the strength and endurance that she was starting to gain by being in that program was transferring over into her regular daily life and allowing her to do things for him, for both of them that are going to have long-term benefits.
So how's one get involved?
So for the baby boomers, they just come out after they find any information on the program. We've had some, word of mouth a lot from boxers that are already part of our program, going out and seeing someone over town that, hey, I'm part of this program that would be great for you. We've done, different marketing plans. We've had a Come Humor Us Day, where right now one of the main issues, people think that it's a contact. Well, we're a non-contact boxing class. We never hit each other. We're hitting bags, and so we just say, come humor us, come try it out, come see what we're about. So for the baby boomer standpoint, they just come in if they're interested, fill out a health questionnaire with the coaches that are there that day, and then they're ready to start that day, or they can kind of watch and go from there. For the Rocksteady boxing program, they get usually a doctor referral for our neurology team or their neurologist, and then they set up an assessment. A coach will call them, setting up an assessment time to assess what class works best for them. From there, as long as we have all paperwork done, they're assigned the class that they need to be in, and they go on from there.
When you were saying I know with the baby boomer classes, I've seen when I'm out in the community, I know that you set up at the senior, a lot of the senior and the aging events, working with Livestream.
Yes.
Seeing them, and I'm sure, and I always see a line or a lot of activity around your display. So I'm sure, and that gathers information, as well as I've seen you have some of your participants actually there, and that always generates a lot of traffic and conversation.
Yes, our participants really are the hallmark of getting people involved in our programs, because the biggest thing that we fight is the idea of it's a fight club, it's boxing, I don't want to get hit, I don't want to hit other people, and they really help assure new people that that's not what we do. This is not about the fight of it. It's about fighting back against aging or fighting back against Parkinson's disease, things like that. And that that's the theme of everything we do. It's the activity of a boxer. It's not the contact part of it that everybody's afraid of. But that is the biggest thing. That is the first question we get. And that's the one that everybody, especially when we talk about Parkinson's, they say, well, boxing causes Parkinson's, and now you want to use it to do that. And whether that's true or not, it's the common perception. But really, the activities that are involved in boxing, the multiple directions, the timing, the hand-eye coordination, all of those things are very important for both of the populations that we're working with.
I know that you brought along some boxing gloves.
Yes.
So are these actually what they use in the classes?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we have all of our boxers get their own boxing gloves, and that way they can work out in them and use them to do all the different activities that a boxer would do. These are focus mitts that our coaches would hold up. They slide onto your hand, but basically they're a nice target to hold up for the boxer to hit, and then as you move them around into different positions, they're throwing different punches.
Okay.
And so so your hand would slide in from this end.
Oh,
yep.
I'm trying to make it this way.
So yeah, your hand slides in, and so you hold up in different places and different directions to direct the boxer to do different punches. So just one of the activities that our boxers do. And then we also use all of the different boxing bags during class.
And when we're saying baby boomers, is it a certain age?
So we have that class right now opened for anyone 50 and up, and there's no clinical diagnosis needed, just anyone that's wanting to fight back aging.
Is there a membership fee?
So for the Baby Boomer Fight Club, right now we are offering our first month free, and then after that first month you get a free t-shirt, and then it's $25 a month. For the Rocksteady boxing program, it is $45 a month. The assessment process is free, but once you start with the program, it's $45 a month. And if financial hardship is an issue, there are scholarship opportunities.
And I believe there are some insurances that would cover this?
Our members have found a couple of insurances where they might have a fitness membership benefit or something built into their health insurance, and they have been able to get it reimbursed. But most insurance companies aren't reimbursing up front yet.
Okay. And where's this available? Are we limited just to Richmond only, or are we traveling?
Right now, for the Rock Steady Boxing program, we are offering it in Richmond and in Eaton at the rehab building. For baby boomers, right now we're only in Richmond, but we're looking at, in the near future, branching out to Connersville.
Oh, that's great. And so what are some other things you'd like people to know about both of the programs?
Really, the main things are just how much fun the participants have. They become like a family and helping each other out. We like to talk about our Parkinsons group, that it's not a support group, but it's a very supportive environment. It's really neat to see them rally around each other when they come in for class. If somebody's not having a great day, then the others will all rally around them, and by the time everybody leaves, they're all in a much better mood at that point.
So it's a great support system, is great exercise.
It is.
Well, I want to thank Brian Steele and Matthew Wright for joining us today on Reid Beside You. And for further information, we'll have information that you can call, and called Reid Rehab.
Reid Rehab, yes, 983-3092, and the address is 2021 Chester Boulevard.
Great. And thank you for joining us today.